Kantara, translation is Mystical Forest, is a 2022 Indian Kannada language action thriller film. Written and directed by Rishabh Shetty, the film stars Shetty as a Kambala champion who is at loggerheads with an upright forest officer, Murali, played by Kishore. In 1847, there lived a king that had a great kingdom as well as a loving wife and child, but could not find peace. He sets out on a journey to discover true happiness and comes upon a stone in a forest occupied by Panjurli Deva, a deity that protects the villagers that reside in the forest. He donates vast amount of his land to the villagers in exchange for taking the stone with him. Panjuruli wants the king that his family and successors should keep their word and not reclaim the land, which will incur the wrath of Panjuruli's companion, the ferocious Buliga Deva. In 1970, the king's successor asked a Bhuta Kola performer who is possessed by Panjuruli to make the locals hand over the land to him, which the performer refuses and states he will die vomiting blood if he tries to. The successor raises doubt on performer's possession by Panjuruli, to which the performer replies he would vanish if he is possessed, and after which he runs into the forest and is indeed never seen again. As warned, the king's successor dies mysteriously, vomiting blood a few months later on the steps of the court, where he was going to argue the land case. In 1990, Murali, a forest officer, is tasked with converting the villagers' land into a forest reserve. However, he is challenged by Shiva, a Kambala athlete from the Kadubettu village and the missing performer's son. Shiva is backed by his patron and the villager's landlord, Devendra Shuttaru, who is the king's successor in the present. Although Shiva is continually asked to perform the Bhuta Kola, he refuses due to the trauma of his father's disappearance. Instead, his cousin Gruva takes his place. Murali and his staff start erecting a fence along the embarked forest reserve. Shiva falls in love with a woman named Leela and uses his connections with Devendra to appoint her as a forest guard. The villagers try to stop the fencing, but the police and the forest guards, including Leela, brutally suppress them, creating a rift between Leela and Shiva, even though she was following orders and could do nothing about the situation. As the feud between Murali and Shiva intensifies, Murali decides to arrest Shiva and his friends and heads to their hideout along with Devendra's henchman Sudhakara. However, Shiva and his friends who were cutting down a tree accidentally destroy Murali's jeep in the process. Thinking they killed everyone inside, go into hiding. A few days later, they return to the village to meet their families. Shiva makes up with Leela and tells her that he will surrender. However, they are caught by the police and forest guards the morning after. Guruva asks Devendra to bail Shiva, but Devendra tries to bribe him to act as if Panjuruli orders the villagers to give him their land in the next Bhut Kola. Guruva refuses and Devendra kills him. Learning that Murali has figured out his ulterior motive, Devendra decides to set Shiva against him. Having learned about Guruva's death, Shiva meets Devendra, who lies about Murali being Guruva's killer. Enraged, Shiva goes to kill Murali but learns from his friend Mahadeva, the blacksmith, that Devendra himself killed Guruva. Shiva is attacked by Devendra's henchmen but manages to escape and meet the villagers, whom Murali has told about Devendra's land seizure. After Shiva reveals that Devendra killed Guruva, he and Murali set aside their grudge and unite the village. Devendra and his henchmen attack, leading to an intense battle where several of the villagers are killed. After nearly dying in the fight, Shiva hits his head against Panjaruli's stone, gets possessed by the Guliga Deva, and kills Devendra and his henchmen. A few months after the battle, Shiva performs the Bhuta Kola, where he is possessed by Panjaruli. He, Murali, and the villagers join hands in a symbolic gesture and blesses the villagers, and he then disappears into the forest after meeting what seems to be his father's spirit. The film ends with Shiva and Leela's son asking Sundara about his father's disappearance and Sundara narrating the same.